Boom. Guys, tell me I'm on time, and if you could do me a favor, if you could just very quickly jump on this live and see if you can share this live with somebody that you think would be interested in this conversation. I have to tell you, I can still see the reflection in my glasses. Maybe I move it. I don't know. What do you think? Maybe I just slightly move. You know, the one thing I cannot stand, and I know many of you that wear glasses feel the same way about this, I can't stand a crooked frame on my face. It is the absolute worst when you're sitting in front of a camera and right there, right smack dab in the middle of what you're saying, you notice that your friends are not aligned. They're off kilter, mate. I was watching the Chris Eubanks Jr. fight, and I must tell you, 12 rounds of gladiator excellence. And it was amazing. It's incredible what these kids are doing now. You know, I mean, you guys, you know anything about boxing. I'm a huge boxing fan. In particular, I love Muhammad Ali. He was my absolute favorite because he was just so amazing and so beautiful in the ring. Float like a butterfly and sting like a bee. I'm so fast, I could turn the lights off and be in bed before the room gets dark. I love that. So anyway, I was watching please tell me in the comments if any of you saw the Chris Eubanks Jr. fight against Nigel Benn's son. I'm not sure. What's his name? It's Connor? Connor Ben is his last name. Well, you know, their fathers, Nigel Ben's father and Chris Eubanks Sr., they had this boxing rivalry in the early 90s. It was quite spectacular to watch. And to see their offspring, to see their children decades later step into the ring and exhibit gladiator level defiance and grit. It was a sight to behold. I must tell you, it wasn't a fight for the faint of heart. I mean, those kids had heart, they had grit. I mean, did you see that last round, the 12th round? I mean, Chris Eubanks Jr. was barely on his feet. I mean, he would lean forward and literally use Connor Ben's body as a sort of like a pillar support. Without Connor Ben's body there, Chris Eubanks Jr. would have easily just crumbled to the floor. But boy, I tell you, I mean, they were exchanging punches like it was the stock exchange. I tell you what, I tell people all the time, especially people that threaten me, because they don't know my background. They don't know that I took a karate class when I was a teenager, and I went up to yellow belt, and I'm quite lethal in that regard. So when people sort of threaten me on the streets, I sort of, you know, I smile at them because deep down in my heart, they have no idea that I have this technique called the quarter blood technique. And it's basically 2 hits. I hit them and then they hit the ground and then there's blood everywhere. The place turns into a crime scene. They just don't know how. These hands, lethal. Okay. Guys, in a few minutes, I need to leave from this office. I cannot be late. Okay, let's be clear. I cannot be late. I have to catch a flight from the airport. Although I think I need to pass through the house and grab some dental floss. That's very important. I can't go to this event without dental floss. I mean, what are people going to think? So I'll very quickly zoom by the house, which is on the way to the airport. I'll grab a box of dental floss, and then I'm going to go straight to the airport, and then hopefully I'm going to make the flight. So basically what I'm trying to say to you is that this broadcast is going to be 15 minutes long, if that. Maybe 10, because give or take a few lines of traffic. The point is, I cannot be late. So do me a favor, guys. As soon as I hit the 10-minute mark in this broadcast, please start typing Simon, you need to get in the car, get to the airport before Bakusha. Because the last thing I need is for this plane to, it's a chartered flight. It's a chartered plane, okay? They're not gonna wait for me, but I shouldn't be late, okay? So just tell me in the comments after 10 minutes, and then we can, the reason I'm going to Livingston is because I'm going to meet legendary German football player, Bastian Schweinsteiger. You remember Bastian Schweinsteiger? Somebody says you've missed a spot on your hand lotion. Oh, really? Where? Where did I miss a? Are you serious? Goodness. That's the last thing I need, boy. I tell you what, can't miss a spot. I need to get it. All right, here we go. All righty. So I'm going to meet Bastian Schweinsteiger, and I was asking Gemini. You know Gemini? Gemini is Google's AI assistant. Here, let me ask you. I'll ask you now. Okay, Google. Hey, Gemini.
Hey there. What's on your mind today?
Well, you know, I'm going to catch a flight. I'm going to Livingston in about an hour and a half. Did I tell you this?
That's exciting. No, you hadn't mentioned it.
Well,
are you going for work or...
Well, let me tell you now, I'm going, it's sort of semi-work, but I need to be there. I need to be at the airport in an hour and a half, Gemini.
Okay, that's cutting it close. Livingston Airport is about a 15-minute drive from the city centre, but traffic can be unpredictable. I'd suggest leaving at least 2 hours before your flight to be safe. Have you checked in online yet?
2 hours? I can't check in. What am I going to do for 2 hours? That's too long, Gemini. 30 minutes tops. Listen, I got a question about Nigel Benn and Chris Eubanks fight.
A boxing fan. You're talking about the legendary rivalry between Nigel Benn and Chris Eubank. They had two epic fights in the early 90s. The first one, in 1990, Eubank won by TKO, and the rematch in 1993 was a draw. Both fights were absolute classics. Is there anything specific you wanted to know about them?
Yeah, I wanted to find out the latest fight between Chris Eubanks Jr. and Conor Benn. Who won the fight? Tell me.
That fight happened just a few days ago, on April 26th. Chris Eubank Jr. won by unanimous decision. All three judges scored it 116 to 112. It was a really close fight, and both guys gave it their all.
They sure did. Hey, listen, I'm gonna meet Bastian Schweinsteiger. You know who that is? Bastian Schweinsteiger?
Yeah, he's a German football legend. He's won the World Cup, the Champions League, and a bunch of Bundesliga titles with Bayern Munich. He even played for Manchester United for a bit. What would you like to know about him?
So I'm going to meet him in the next few hours, but I wanted to find out from you, Gemini. How do you say in German, how do you say, welcome to Zambia?
You could say, Willkommen in Zambia, or Herzlich willkommen in Zambia. The first one is a direct translation, and the second one is a bit more enthusiastic, like, a warm welcome to Zambia.
So say the first one again.
Sure thing, it's Willkommen in Zambia.
Willkommen in Zambia. Okay, I'm going to say that when I see him. Okay, listen, Gemini, I'm doing a live broadcast, so I can't continue my conversation with you. Can we talk later? Gemini.
No problem. Good luck with your broadcast.
Thank you. All right, listen, I got a couple of things I need to talk to you guys about before I go. I think I've got 6 minutes. Here's the first thing. Miles Sampa's tepid PF. Do you know the word tepid? Do you know lukewarm? You know, without consequence. Not really hot, just kind of there. Ever since Miles took over the PF, I mean, well, his faction of the PF. Remember, there are 3 different segments of the PF. There's the Miles Sampa tepid PF faction, okay? Then there's the Chavinga, Robert Chavinga faction. And then there's the ECL faction under the Tonse Alliance. I know it's confusing. It's confusing for me. Trust me. It gives me a headache thinking about this. But the other day I was reading something in the paper, and then Miles was on this rant about wanting to sue Nevis Mumba because Nevis Mumba mentioned that he sort of questioned Miles Sampa's mental capacity. You know, he sort of suggested that Miles Sampa could have probably taken leave of his senses. That's not so far from the truth, because given his antics, not only within the party, but everything else he does on Facebook, it really brings into question there's a lot going on there. There is. And of course, at the risk of being sued, I'm just going to leave it there. Okay? There's something going on there. Something that we're not privy to, something that we're not seeing, that needs to be brought out of darkness and into the light. Okay? So in my opinion, Miles Sampa's tepid, lukewarm, ineffective, watered down, diluted PF is not going anywhere. Okay? It's dead on arrival. It is a dud. You know what a dud is? Tell me in the comments if you know what a dud is. A dud, it's an old World War phrase. A dud is, you know, when you fire a missile or a missile, and when it hits the target, it doesn't explode. That's called a dud. PF under Miles is a dud. D-U-D, dud. All right, the next thing I want to talk to you about, because I need to leave. Honestly, really, I can't be here. I'm late as it is already. I cannot sit here. Where are my keys? Somebody give me my keys. Honestly, really. As soon as I switch this off, I'm out the door. Boom, I'm in the car. I need to stop by the house and get some dental floss. I can't go to Livingston without any dental floss. I can't do it. What was the next thing I was going to talk about? What was it? What was on the thing? Remind me what it was. Okay, here it is. What was it? Give me a second. Okay. Tonse crumbles. You guys, you've heard what's going on. First of all, Sean Fraudster Tembo, Sean Zero Tembo, he's back and forth with the Tonse hierarchy. Okay, he sort of asserted himself. He was giving some type of press conference. And did you see KBF sitting next to Sean Tembo? And there was KBF with his arms folded. So anyone that knows anything about body language will tell you that KBF was sitting there and he was grimacing. KBF was sitting there thinking, do I have to sit here with this clown? Sean Tembo was thinking, do I have to sit here with this douche? So they were both thinking stuff that they weren't saying to each other. Anyway, Tonse Alliance, Tonse Tizagwa, all of us are going to fall alliance is now, you know, it's, you know, these are the kicks, these are the last kicks of a dying horse. You know, and it's going to be that much more evident in the next coming weeks, because if there are internal wrangles at this level, at this stage, 1 year plus before the general elections, you think that thing called Bantu Uka was launched, it failed. Tonse was launched, already there are wrangles. You think it will survive? It won't survive. It will not survive. Okay. Catholic Archbishop Alec Banda. You guys know who Archbishop Alec Banda is. He's the Archbishop of the Archdiocese of Lusaka here in Zambia. He was appointed by the late Pope Francis back in January 20, I think it was 2018. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think those are the dates. Well, Archbishop Alec Banda is one of the most vociferous, most vocal, sort of anti-HH guys out there. He doesn't really like HH, and he doesn't make any qualms about that. You know, he's made that very clear that there's something in the way he speaks against the current government that smacks of inducement in a sense, okay? It smacks of, what's the word? Tell me the word. But anyway, the reason I'm bringing him up is because when he, at the Pope Francis's funeral, H.H. had gone to pay his last respects, and the room was slightly tense, but all of that melted away when H.H. walked up to the Archbishop and shook his hand. You should have heard what happened. The moment the president reached out his hand and shook the Archbishop's hand, you know what that was saying? That just speaks of H.H.'s magnanimity. Remember when H.H. used that word? Be magnanimous. Do you know what it means to be magnanimous? It means to be courteous to someone that doesn't necessarily agree with you. Magnanimous. Magnanimity. And in my view, H.H. is the very embodiment. He is the personification of magnanimity. The moment he shook Archbishop Alekbander's hand, the women in the church lost their minds. They just loved it. They were ululating and woo! You know why? Because in that moment, they recognized that, you know what, this president's not so bad. I mean, there are some other presidents who could have not even talked to Archbishop Banda. They simply could have just walked past. But because of because of H.H.'s magnanimity, that is why you saw that type of exhibition of being magnanimous. Be magnanimous. Be courteous to people that don't necessarily agree with you. Guys, I gotta go. Did somebody tell me? Huh? Could somebody tell me what time it is? You were supposed to remind me that I'm supposed to be on the road. Nobody neso. Instead, I'm sitting here talking with you. Guys, I can't be late for this flight. I cannot. I gotta go. I need to stop by the house and pick up some dental floss. All right. Thanks for listening. Bye. Oh, that's today's Shimanacho.